I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, August the 10th, brought to you in part by Bromage Commodities. That's my friend Candy Sullivan out there in Kentucky, really at Paris. She has an office in Lexington at the flagship location of Bluegrass Stockyards, but works from the farm most of the time, but can be there and help you with any problems that you have. Or any questions that you have. Maybe you just got a hunch, but you'd like to get you a commodity account open, and you need some advice on how to hedge your crops or your livestock. Maybe you just want to get in and ride the market because you think you've got a hunch one way or the other. But get a hold of Candy at bromageandcommodities.com and she'll help you out. Had that new base report come out on Monday. We just found out it was going to come out last week, so we didn't have a whole lot of time to sit and talk about it, but we've been looking for more transparency, and this came along with one of the executive orders that Mr. Magoo come out with, and so they've pushed this through. They've had the information coming through the system since 2000, whenever we established mandatory price reporting, but never did have this report coming out. Always have been putting out this report for hogs, but not for cattle. But anyway, it's out there now. The information's there, and evidently it made it through the confidentiality filters because we did get information. It just kind of brings out some questions on there, but it talked about cattle on Monday. The Monday report, that's the daily report, which is not the better one. The better one is the weekly report that has the net price distribution. Now that's going to be on a regional basis also, so that's going to help a whole lot and be able to tell more. But that one's going to be coming out here on Tuesday, and then we'll take a look at it and see what we learn. But the Monday was just for cattle that were priced on Monday. Formulated cattle priced on Monday. There was 140,100 head of them just for the one-day pricing there, which Monday is going to be your big day, but still that's a hell of a lot bigger than the 81,000 that we sold negotiated all of last week. But you look at that, and I like to look at the live steers because that's what I'm used to pricing off of, but this is on a national basis, so you know that's what I mean. The pool is really, really big, but on a national basis, your live steers, there was 15,500 of them altogether, and they went from 119.85 to 126.80. That's your base price. From just under 120 to 126.80 is a base price. Where the hell did the 126.80 come from as a base price? Now, in fact, on Friday we had some 127.50, but where'd the 126.80 come from? And then you get the weighted average on that, and it's just under 125, 124.90, which is higher than what we got, you know, as a whole on your weighted average for your negotiated live steers. You know, it's about $1 higher, but what's the formula based upon? Where did we get that? Was it a price that we come from somewhere? Price plus? It wasn't the top of the market. It wasn't any weighted average in particular. I don't know where that came from. I don't know where it got derived from. But it was about $1 better on your base price, and then likely if you had a sweetheart deal, you're going to get a lot more premiums and discounts there. So yeah, these guys are getting along a whole lot better than your negotiated guys, but we knew that. So if you've got the very best cattle, 80% choice cattle, this will be up in your upper Midwest and maybe Eastern Corn Belt cattle, 10,200 of them, of all your steers there. And they ran from 120.84 to 126.80 also, so that's where the 126.80 cattle fell. But they pulled that weighted average all the way up to 126.16 on the 10,000 plus that were the best grading cattle, and you would expect that. You look at your dress delivered cattle, delivered dress price, which is like our negotiated dressed. And you see that more dress cattle, of course, sold than the live cattle on formula basis. 20,300 head of them sold dressed basis on the steers anyway, from $187.12 to $200.57 a hundred dressed. Now that is kind of weird, because the top end of your delivered dressed cattle base formulated base price was not even as high as the top price that we had negotiated. We sold cattle at $202, but your base price stopped at $200.57. Then your weighted average come in on all your dressed delivered steers at $195.08. Well, hell, our negotiated dressed steers for last week were $198.20. So that's over $3 higher that they sold negotiated. So there must be a lot more premiums involved there on the dressed arrangement there. Even on the 80% choice or better dressed delivered cattle, over 12,900 head of them, and the steers ran from $187.90 to $200.32, not even as high as the lower grading cattle dressed delivered. Makes no sense there. Weighted average there was $196.08. It was about $2 less than what our weighted average negotiated on dressed steers was. The one thing we learned also on there is there's a lot more cattle sold dressed FOB, or picked up, free on board is what that means, but where your packer comes and picks the cattle up. We don't see very many negotiated cattle at all sell dressed FOB, and it's the same way with hogs or whatever. Normally if you sell them dressed, you deliver them to them, but selling those dressed FOB, that's a strange way to sell those cattle. But 30,900 head of those were sold dressed FOB, and the bulk of them trade from $186.73 to $203.78. Weighted average there was $191.98. So you figure that you take off the cost of the freight for your buyer there, but still, I don't know where that $203.78 come from, but the $203.78 for dressed FOB was over $3 better than the top price on the dressed delivered. So that does not make any sense either. Anyways, but somebody's smart enough to go in there and start keeping track of that, and then going back and comparing it back, and we'll maybe find out a little bit more. But we did get the information. We saw, at least on a live basis, the base price formulated is a whole lot better than what we're getting negotiated, and it was kind of interesting there. But looking forward to the report that's going to come out here on Tuesday, and that is that net price distribution. Tell you what the cattle all brought, net. So that'll be interesting. Let's look at the board. For Monday, August live cattle futures were unchanged at 123. October down 40 cents at 127.47. Going your back months of live cattle, they were down 12 cents to down 45. August feeder cattle down 55 cents at 159.30. September was down 12 at 163.20. Not big moves, but all on the depressed side for the most part, till you got to the back months and your spread went from down a quarter to up 27 cents. Weighted average on last week's negotiated live cattle trade out of your 5-area feeding region, or it's live and dressed negotiated, 81,000 head. Like I said, that's a lot less than we saw in just your base priced cattle for Monday, compared to 64,200 the previous week, 91,600 the same week a year ago. Live sales of steers and heifers negotiated in the 5-area feeding region, 118 to 127.50. We talked about the 127.50s. That was in the northern area on Friday. Big string of heifers sold that way. It was to a regional packer, but still, that's a nice price in there, and it did pull the weighted average up a little bit. Live steers and heifers, but your steers had a weighted average of 123.83. That was up $2.15. So basically, your northern plains were about $3 higher live. Southern plains about $1 higher. Northern plains has got a lot more current of show list, and so they've got things kind of in their hands, playing in their hands. and your packers are getting aggressive in the northern plains. They want those better grading cattle. Those are the ones that have been on feed the longest, really gotten obese, and have a higher quality grade. Don't have that many of them. Normally they can stash them all around up in the northern feedlot areas. Go to some of your smaller feeder farmer feeders and they've got some, but I've talked to some guys that watching cattle that they're delivering to these plants, and they say, hey, they look green for up here. So we can expect our grading percentage to go down. Your packers should get more aggressive for finished cattle that are sure enough done, and we'll see how that works out. But things are kind of starting to come into the cattleman's favor. Dress sales steers and heifers from 196 to 202. Weighted average on dressed steers was 198.20. That was about $2 higher dressed, but your weighted average was only about 81 cents higher than compared to last week, but the whole price was $2 better. Nationwide, 94,100 head negotiated compared to 262,500 formulated. There's our problem. But of the 94,100, 30% of those were for the 15 to 30 day delivery. Your packers would love to get that kind of done, but indeed sometimes they get cattle with a little bit of time on them and they're starting to need them, so they're taking them right away, and we hear that more and more all the time. Monday we did have a few sales in Iowa from 124 to 125 live and 202 dress, so that goes to show you that, and that's direct, guys, and your packers are coming out looking for cattle already early this week. Box beef cutout values sharply higher again on Monday. Your choice cuts price on them is basically $3 a pound, and they're not hardly wanting to give $2 a pound for dressed fat cattle. But $299.80 choice cuts on Monday afternoon. That was up $3.54. Selects $280.81, up $3.72. Let's talk about what else is going on. Here on Tuesday, Lone Star Stockyards, Wildorado, Texas, just west of Amarillo. They've got a good sale coming, and this is the second sale they'll be on DV auction, but we've got everything kind of adjusted down. I think we got the sound right, and it's been a problem on the internet bidding has been the audio, but DV auction is broadcasting the sale, Lone Star Stockyards of Wildorado. You can get on there and watch that sale. If you're interested in bidding, call them there at the sale barn and get a hold of them in the office before the sale if you think you might want to get on there. But they've got some big strings on it. They got one 500 head deal, crossbred steers, and that's from Miami, Texas. They got 180 crossbred steers coming from Pampa and 175 crossbred steers coming from over in Edge, Oklahoma. So get on that sale at Lone Star Stockyards and make that one of your Tuesday watches there. But also want to talk about Western Video Market, and you can go on there at wvmcattle.com. Western Video Market is having a next big sale coming up here next week, and it's going to be the Cheyenne sale held at Little America. Little America is still cool, but it ain't what it was when I was a kid and we used to go up there to the Frontier days. I miss the coffee shop. The coffee shop was always great. I saw more stars in the coffee shop at Little America than anywhere in the world. Saw Barbara Mandrell in there, saw Charlie Pride in there, saw a lot of big name stars in there, and I miss the coffee shop at Little America. But they're going to have the big room open, and Western Video Market is going to be having their sale there. And it's going to be on August 16th and 17th. So coming up here early next week, guys, be sure and mark that on your calendar, because you want some late summer yearlings, they got them. They got late summer yearlings running all up there in that western Nebraska area. I mean, some of the best cattle you'll find anywhere with a September delivery, most of them. And then they've got weaned calves for later summer and early fall delivery. A lot of weaned calves on there, and I know you guys have a hard time finding those on the videos anyway, because they want to deliver the ballers, but they got a lot of them. And then they got a lot of calves right off the cow too, and a lot of mountain calves, and a lot of those from out west. So don't forget Western Video Market sale coming up August 16th and 17th. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction. Late in the day on Monday at 155.91, that was up 36 cents. Look at your big sales. Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City, 9,000 head. they just called it kind of unevenly steady, and didn't really give too much of an explanation on there, but I guess pretty much status quo. Cattle moved right on. Joplin Regional Stockyards, lighter run for them, 4,100, but still 600 more than they were expecting. They call those calf weights under 7, kind of uneven, but the yearling and long-time wean feeder cattle were steady to $4 higher, so still selling really well. Russell Livestock in Russell, Iowa had a good sale, 2,300 head. Had some impressive quotes, but it's not those ones that knock your eyeballs out, because these cattle are likely big calves. So keep that in mind. They're not going to be the agey yearlings that we've seen over around the Flint Hills and things like that, and still bringing a hell of a price. So look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central there. Best tested weights, 462 of the 7-weight steers averaged 751 at 163.95. 278 head of the 8-weight steers averaged 8 1/4 at 157.66. And then on the heifer deal, 334 head of the 6-weight heifers was the best tested, averaged 652 at 156.56. A couple of other individual quotes from around Bluegrass Stockyards in Lexington, the big fancy nice flagship location right there. So 58 head, 859-pound steers at 153.85 in the ring, Lexington, Kentucky. How about Faith Livestock Auction? Faith, South Dakota, 71 head, 777-pound steers. That's your Zach Tran top quote for the day. Bring 168.50. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.